Hello and welcome to my brand new podcast. I'm Nicky Raby and I'm thrilled that you're joining us. I do lots of things. I'm an actor, coach, writer, speaker and a mum. And in my coaching work, I work with creatives, personal brands, freelancers and small businesses. In this podcast, I want to talk about success, but not in the traditional sense. I want to bring you conversations that discuss success, what it means, and how there are many different versions. We're going to be talking about business, branding, becoming visible, saying no, saying yes, and how you can create a thriving portfolio career doing more of what you love and less of what you don't. Sometimes there can be a certain mystery around the online world, so I'm going to be asking my guests how they started and grew, how they get paid, how they stand out, and how they create success on their terms. As always, please check the show notes for all things we mention and come and say hi over on social media at Nicky Raby or via my website nickyraby.com/podcast. In today's episode, I'm talking to Kim Palmer, who is the founder of Clementine, an app by women for women who want to feel more confident, sleep better, and wave goodbye to the stresses of daily life. Yes, that sounds very nice, doesn't it? Kim juggles this with a career as a strategy director for Wonderman, a digital agency in London, and family life with her husband and her 2 little boys. We cover lots in this episode about how to start a business, how to come up with an idea, and really how to put the steps that you need to take in place and make really quick progress. Kim is so inspiring. I've also written an article for Clementine, so I'll look forward to sharing that as well. It's so nice that we can collaborate in lots of different ways. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hi Kim, how you doing?
Hey Nikki, I'm well. How are you?
Really well, thank you. So if people don't know you, I'd love for you just to give a brief introduction about what you do and what you're all about.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so I'm Kim Palmer. And I do a few different things, actually, all which I love. So by day, I'm a strategy director and I work for a digital agency in London called Wonderman. And I do that 4 days a week. And then when I'm not there, my head switches gear and I'm running my new business, which is called Clementine, which is an app for women to help them deal with the daily grind. And I'm also a mum of 2 boys, one which is right here right now, Kingsley, he's 3 weeks old. I'm nursing him, and I've got another little boy called Louis, and I'm a wife, and I'm just juggling all this stuff, which is great.
Amazing, brilliant. So let's go back to, because you're from New Zealand. When did you first arrive in London, and how did your career begin?
So, yeah, God, I've been here for quite a while.
Me too. I'm suddenly like, what year is that? What was I wearing?
No. When was that? No, it was 2006. People ask me that quite a lot, actually. And why am I here and why am I still here? And yeah, I actually only ever planned to come for like 7 months, but it's kind of like a one-night standing then for me that kind of just never ended. And in terms of my career, I suppose actually it's really interesting thinking about it. It kind of really took off when I came to England. So I went to university in New Zealand and had a couple of jobs before I came here. But then I started working in banking when I first got here. I worked there for quite a long time. And have stayed for my whole career in kind of consumer marketing roles. My whole background is in marketing, really.
Yeah.
And I suppose it depends what you mean by the word career as well.
No, it's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, because if I think about what I'm doing now, which is a portfolio career, and we turn to the question of when did you start your business? Well, that would be in 2016, but we can maybe talk about that a little bit later.
Perfect.
But yeah, my background is mainly in marketing. I work for Tesco as well. Work for Clubcard, and now I work on the flip side for an agency, which has been really nice to do something completely different.
And when you were at school, were you in that mindset of being good at lots of different things, or sort of dipping your toe into lots of different areas? Or has that come through developing and, just becoming an adult, really, and going, actually, to do the same thing day in, every day is not that appealing?
It's interesting, actually. No, I think I've always been a bit like this. So, I mean, even when I was at school, I played pretty much every sport that was available. So I did cricket, I did softball, I did rugby, I did swimming, I did athletics. I tried everything. And then I suppose academically, I mean, I was never very academic, to be completely frank. But I was always trying different things at school as well, not just sports-wise. So I might try a different club, do a bit of debating, or it's looking back, I probably seemed like I was flitting around quite a lot. And then if I think about my career in terms of jobs, I've always changed job at least every 2 years. And I've changed industries as well quite. So I did banking, I did telecommunications, then I did grocery retail, now I'm at agency. So actually, I don't think it's just something that's happened as an adult. I think it's always been with me. And like I said at the very beginning, I get bored quite easily. So I need to have something where I'm challenging my mind, so that I suppose the driver is that I need to feel like I'm learning.
Yes.
It's the learning thing, and also adding value. If I don't feel like I'm adding value to something anymore, then I'm like, out of there, done.
Yeah. That thing of like, my work here is done, or as soon as you start to get a bit eye-rolly, or, even on Sunday lunchtime, you're already dreading Monday. You're like, no. It's time. No. It's time to shake things up.
Time to move on.
With that kind of curiosity and wanting to learn and do lots of different things, how do you work through perhaps fear or a change of circumstances or things like that? Have you found that quite easy to navigate?
No, I wouldn't say it's easy. I am quite a practical person though. So, and I mean, as you can see, I came all the way from New Zealand on my own. You know, I've changed jobs loads of times. I think as you do one thing, you begin to realize that you can do it. If that makes sense. So your past experiences, and you realize that, the world hasn't fallen apart, or, I tried that and okay, it didn't work out, but it wasn't the end of the world again. I didn't lose my job, or do you know what I mean? Whatever.
And sometimes we can worry what other people think, but actually some people haven't even noticed. They're like, did you change where you were? Oh, okay, cool.
No. I've never really, I do care a lot about what people think, but when it comes to jobs, it's always centered around, am I happy? And if I'm not happy and I'm not passionate about something, then I have to change it up.
Yeah.
And I am really practical about things. I do a lot of drawing and writing. So when I can't work through something, people at work always laugh at me because I have a sketch pad, and I'm like, right, and I'm like drawing a picture of something, or do you know what I mean? Like, I have to work. I'm a really visual person, and also because I love to talk things through.
Yeah.
So I'll always talk to people, like lots of different types of people, if I've got a problem, to kind of get a different perspective on things, which will help me. I always come to my own conclusion about it. So it doesn't mean that I'm going to actually take on board their advice.
Yes.
But I do make an effort to kind of bring in all the different aspects, and then I'll go, right, okay, what feels right for me based on what I've heard everybody say, and then I'll make the decision myself. So yeah.
That's so good, actually, because last week I went to this event at the Hunter Collective, which is a co-working space for, we had Lacey on the podcast. I say I had Lacey, like my huge team over here. No, I had her on my podcast. And,
myself and I.
Yeah, myself and I. Yeah, we're a really tight crew. But I went to an event there last week about branding, and everybody was dolled up to the nines, and they had the most amazing styling and all the rest of it. And I kind of rocked up, and Lacey looked at me and went, oh, cool, what are you doing here? And I said, well, what I don't want to do, I'm really conscious of it, that I don't just want to, like, I guess when I started being an actor, I didn't want to suddenly just have a very posh voice because I thought that that's what I should do. About being authentic is really kind of real, but also you can pick up lots of different things from other areas and step outside of your own, and so you're not copying, I guess.
Yeah, totally. That's hilarious.
And I got some styling tips as well, and awesome. It was great. So
awesome.
From your from moving into your job, how did that move go for you in terms of moving into an app space? Was it something that you dabbled in before, or
God, no, not at all, actually. So I'll rewind slightly to tell you how I got to even developing an app, because that was an interesting process where actually what happened was I'd been back at work for like a year something, and I thought, okay, I'm sort of coasting a bit here.
Yeah.
It's time to figure out how I'm going to push forward and lean into my career a bit more. And so I decided to get a coach. Yeah, hey. And I invested that in my own money to do that, because I thought, right, I just need a bit of help to work out where I'm going with all this stuff. And I had my little goal, which was about climbing the corporate ladder again and da-da-da-da-da. And but it just didn't feel right. You know when you get that feeling about something? Like,
I do, yeah.
This isn't right. And I had my little plan of how I was going to get there. My goal was actually to be a COO of one of our agencies in the next 5 years, and that's totally achievable, but it just didn't feel right. And I actually felt a bit sick about it. So that wasn't right. And I just happened to have this conversation with this guy at my work who's the chairman, and I was talking to him about my objective, and he said, do you know what, Kim? I know that you can totally do that, but is that really what you want to do? Is that if you could do anything, be anything, live anywhere, whatever, is that really what you want to do?
Wow.
And so...
that was really brave of him to say that, actually.
I know.
Good guy. Brilliant.
Totally. That was a game changer for me, because I went away. He said, just go away and have a think about it. You may end up in the same place, but you might not. And I didn't. I did a complete 360 and went, hold on a minute. Actually, what I want to do is start a business. And I'd always wanted to start a business. But I had a fear around it, which was I could never come up with an idea that was worthy enough, that was good enough. You see all these people with all these ideas, and you put them up on a pedestal and you go, oh, they're amazing. Like, there's no good ideas left.
Yeah. And then you realise, actually, it's that, well, I do for myself, you realise it's just a limiting belief. It's like dressing something up and going, okay, there's something I'm not dealing with here. It's actually because it's quite scary to go, let's go all in with this.
I know. Well, interestingly, once I'd said it to myself, and then I told everyone that I was going to start a business, and I don't know why I did that. I just was like, right, I've got to tell everyone. Otherwise this is probably never going to happen. Right. It was literally like the floodgates opened in my brain, and I just had so many ideas. It was mental.
Amazing.
And then this was Clementine. I mean, it didn't just pop into my head as Clementine.
And then the brand was complete. It was all sorted. The podcast recorded itself. The app was there. It was great.
Exactly. It didn't quite happen like that, but the idea around it, making hypnotherapy accessible, creating an app and all that stuff came pretty quickly, and I just sat on it for a long time, for 3 months, to make sure that this was actually it, and I became obsessed by it. And I don't have a background in building apps at all, but because I have a background in marketing, I knew that actually I could bring in the right people. I've got so many contacts. I could build a brand. I could do all that. I could do all the social media, the email marketing, everything apart from the app itself, the technicalities of it. I thought, I've got this. This is what I've been building my whole career up to. Almost felt like that in a way.
And it's so funny, that mindset thing of once you've made a decision, like, it's game over. You are doing this. And totally. I think I say that to my clients all the time. You just need to decide. And I had it with a client last week, actually, and we had an hour session together. And she came to the table with going, okay, let's do this. Let's go. And she ended up staying in the place for another 4 hours and And she said, I've done more in 6 months today than I have in 6 months. But the only thing that had changed was clearly working with me, but also, just deciding.
Her mindset and making the decision. It's so true. I was exactly the same. And I just, worked every second of every day in any spare time thinking about it. And you do that once you're onto that thing, the one thing, and you have clarity and purpose around it. So that was a long way of answering your question. Sorry.
And how did that process start? As in, what were the sort of practical steps that you took to launch it and
to build it?
Yeah, to build it.
So the first thing I did was, and this because my background's in proposition development, I knew that I needed to spend the time writing and visualizing what this product was going to be rather than having it in my head. So I built the standard PowerPoint presentation which said, this is what it is, this is the problem that I'm trying to solve, and why it's going to be different from competitors. That's almost like a pitch deck.
Yes, this is so good.
For myself, to get myself clear on what it was, and then also to bring in other people. So the first person I had to convince was Georgia, who's the voice behind Clementine, because she's the hypnotherapist.
Right.
And so I built it for her as well, and we had a call to discuss it, and she jumped on board straight away. And then actually I knew, having done this in my workplace, that once you have a really good pitch deck, it just becomes the bone of the conversation you have with everybody. So
have I shown you my deck yet? No.
Yeah.
Well, then let's do it.
Let me roll out my PowerPoint deck.
Like you just got a projector under your arm at all times.
I used it as to get on board everybody else. So I had her. So we worked on building the actual sessions to go in the app. Then I had to find a developer. I managed to find an American company, actually, who build apps in 10 days. And this was a fluke of luck, actually, what happened, where I phoned them in America and managed to get the founder on the phone. And he just fell in love with what I was doing. And so he sort of bent over backwards to really help me. And again, I suppose, in a way, having that pitch deck that really sold it to them was helpful.
Yes.
I wasn't just, someone who phoned up with a random idea who hadn't really thought it through. I'd made it an effort to work out what it was. And then
I think you have to create stuff sometimes before. I was saying this to Esther Walker about that thing of, you can't just wait for somebody to go, hey, sweetheart, I think you would be really great at writing a film, or like, why don't you start a blog or a podcast? Like, you have to meet it halfway. Sometimes you have to be put some skin in the game yourself.
Totally. I mean, it's that whole thing about when you work with agencies, they say a crap brief means that you're going to get a crap output. So everything, like even down to the emails that I've built, I always design them up in a PowerPoint, like wireframe them. When I say wireframe, I mean using boxes and stuff like that, so that someone else could actually work to what my vision was. I was always really clear on how I wanted every aspect of it to look and feel. But translating that to someone is quite difficult. I'd spend a lot of time, drawing things out, even if it was just on a piece of paper. And I got a little branding company in London who I'd worked with before. Most of the people I either were recommended to me or I'd worked with them before, to help do all the aspects of the app or the brand, I suppose, that I wasn't, 100% confident doing on my own. Like, I think branding is a really big part of a business, so I wanted to spend the money to get help doing that, and even stuff like the copywriting. So I'm just really fortunate that I have Annie wrote out the amazingly talented lady of doing many things. She does all the copywriting for me, and helps with the marketing. So I knew that even just the words that I used in the app would be really important for women to show that you've put the TLC into it.
Yes.
And that you get them, rather than just, banging out some old copy saying this is what the session is. And you don't need it to have a bit more love and care.
It's a real fine line, isn't it? Especially if you're a bit sleep deprived, or you're kind of figuring out your identity, or sort of in the fog of new parenting, or just kind of not feeling like yourself. I think just to have that that copy or that message that really sings out to you, that you just go, yes, that's what I need. Because I think sometimes there can be the focus on all of the other things, and actually you still want to be seen as a woman, you still want to be looked after. And how did the kind of content come out to play? Why did you want to do an app on this rather than, I don't know, the next Candy Crush?
Yeah, that was super.
That's coming later in the year.
That's
don't
the next
worry.
thing off the rank.
She's got 2 children, a 4-day week job, another app, but it's coming.
It was really easy. So 4 years ago, most people know this about me. I experienced really debilitating anxiety and panic attacks. And that all came about, just a really short story of years of me working really hard, stressful job, people pleaser, perfectionist, lots of negative chatter in my head, just never doing myself justice or saying, well done, Kim.
Yeah, I'm nodding. I agree with everything. Not that you are those, but I feel the same. Yeah.
I think a lot of women and men do this, when you're just grinding it out every day. I never stopped to consider, hey, you've done a good job. And anyway, it all came to a head when I had Louis, my first son, and it spiraled out of control. And so actually one of the things, the game changer for me, getting myself back on track, and it took years to get to where I am now, but to get back on track, I used hypnotherapy. And I saw Georgia Foster here in London, and just immediately after my first session, I felt like the weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And actually over the course of a couple of years, she recorded quite a few sessions for me, and I had them on my phone, and I listened to them all the time for so many different things. Like I used to use them to go to sleep, and then when I started working again, I'd use them before I'd go into a big pitch, just to make me feel really good. And I realized that, oh, hey, hold on a minute, there's something in this beyond just a confidence building exercise. And so I thought, I knew that Headspace were the biggest around at that time. I'd tried it and it just didn't work for me. It actually made me feel under more pressure. And I'm not saying it's not amazing, because it is, and so many people love it. But for me, I found I couldn't get on with meditation. And I spoke to so many women who also felt the same way. And so I thought, okay, again, these things all came together. And I thought there's an opportunity here to make hypnotherapy more accessible. And especially for women who have very frazzled and busy brains, what I don't want them to feel like is they're under pressure. They should just feel relaxed.
Right. I'm such a terrible meditator today.
I know. And so, just I wanted to do something I was passionate about. So this felt like the right thing. I never really thought of anything. I mean, I had lots of different ideas, but this was always the one that I couldn't stop thinking about. And I think it's right when you dream it, you're eating breakfast and you're thinking about it. And whatever.
And it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like something that you need to get back to, or you want to add to, and all of that. I've had hypnotherapy myself. I had a counsellor at drama school because it was quite an intense kind of environment. I was in my second year, and you're having to play like suicidal people all day, and I'm an empath, and I found that quite a lot. And then my parents were getting divorced, so everything felt a bit crazy. So I used to meet him. It sounds very ominous, but there was this guy called Robert who used to come in, and we'd have a little brief chat. And then I would have this hypnotherapy session, and I would sort of come out and go, I've no idea what happened there, but I feel so much better. And
you felt better.
Yes. And part of that was just actually dedicating time to myself to slow down, to to lower my heart rate, probably, to be quiet. And we didn't even have social media then. I mean, what was I doing with my time?
I love it. That's so true, though, isn't it? It's the space and the time, and just to kind of detach from everything for a moment, which is very difficult to do. That's brilliant. I'm glad you had a good experience with it.
Yeah, I wonder where he is now. He was very lovely. Anyway, what has been the response since launching, and has it become what you thought it would become?
Do you know what? So I'm learning so much. This is how I thought it was going to work, right?
Right.
I spent 9 months building this thing, launch it, and that would almost, in a way, be it.
Yeah.
But it's the opposite, where I feel like I've only just begun.
Like parenting.
So, it's like, okay, now this baby is born. Now I've got to listen to what this baby is telling me, listen to the community, and keep evolving. And so that's what I'm learning. To be honest, I had a very considered strategy around launching it, which was in the first 6 months. So just get it out there. So it's not going to be perfect. And that's my mantra for the year. Progress, not perfection. And because I'm a planner by trade, there was a risk that I was just going to overplan it.
Yeah.
And spend 2 years planning it, making it perfect. And I had to learn very quickly, even just from the building phase, that I just couldn't do that. Otherwise, I was never going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So I just thought, right, get it out there. And the best way to make it perfect is by starting and getting feedback and evolving it. And so I haven't spent any money, zero money, on marketing it for the first 6 months. And that's considered because I thought, well, let's just see how it goes naturally, organically, see what women say about it, and try and evolve it in these first 6 months as best as I can. And then I'm starting to plan the marketing aspects of it. So, Facebook, Instagram, spending money on paid advertising, bringing in a PR agency from America, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that it's right and fit for purpose. And it is, it's good, it's great. And lots of women are using it and giving me great feedback. But there's things that still need to change for me to want to spend money to make it right. Because, this is a business at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And I want it to make some money. Yes. So I don't just want to go and spend all the money on the marketing and then people go, well, that's a crap product.
Yeah. And I think also you're not supposed to... With the best will in the world, of course, you have to know vaguely what it is that you're building, but it's only until you get something. It's like when I've been in plays, it gets to the point where a week before the show goes up, we're like, we need to get this on the stage now, and we need to hear where the audience are going to laugh, where they're not going to laugh, where it's going to be awkward, where we need to change things. And you only get to know that once something is live. And I've gone through quite a process over the weekend of purging old content from my website and getting rid of videos and things like that. Oh my goodness, it's been so therapeutic. It's like going to the skip without leaving your house.
Lovely.
It's been great. Awesome. But there was part of me that just thought, oh, shall I hold on to this, or should I I'm not quite recording for a couple of weeks. And actually to start afresh and kind of go, right, this is what works, this is where I'm going. Oh, it feels really good.
It's so true. So I mean, it's been really good. I've been really I have to say I have been, well, I'm going to say lucky. That's not true. And I keep saying to everyone in my community, we should never say that. It hasn't been luck. We've worked, so Annie, who helps me, we work incredibly hard every week to pitch Clementine to journalists. We're pitching every week, slogging it out. And that's what I've realized with running a business. It's, you can look at everyone else and go, oh, they're doing amazing. The fact of the matter is they are doing amazing because they're slogging it out. And they've been doing it for years.
And they're not an overnight success.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had to get my head around that. But we were just really well, again, stop it. We got an article on the front page of The Guardian when they reviewed that. So they said that it should be one of the 7 apps that every woman should own. And that was massively, massively helpful, not just from a numbers perspective, but giving me a bit of me confidence, but a reputation to talk to other people about it, journalists and what have you. So I'm ahead of where I thought I would be at this point this year, which makes me happy.
Amazing. And also sometimes you only need one person to go, it works, we love it, it's amazing. Yes. And I always say it to my clients, like, get the money in the door in whatever you need to do, because once you get the money in, you know that it works, you know that people want to pay you. And I know with the app it's slightly different, but it's that thing of, if you're a one woman show, like, get people onto your website, because they'll tell you what they need from it, or what they love, what needs work. And that's fantastic.
No, it's just been an absolute joy, to be honest. I love working on something that I love.
Yeah, it's funnily enough. True. And so where do you think it's going, or where would you like to take it?
Basically I've started off building an app, but my vision has always been so much bigger than that. Clementine for me is a brand, and the app is the first access where we offer women support to help them bring their A game every day. But I know that an app is not going to change someone's life completely. It's all the things that go around it. In my journey from having panic attacks to being here today, starting my own business, all that stuff has not just been hypnotherapy. It's been all the things that go around it, the support, the coaching. And so I think that there are different support tools and techniques that we can use to help women. And that's either through like the blog, podcasting, doing coaching sessions 1-to-1, or live events like you did with the Digital Mums.
Yes.
Pop-ups in London, wherever. I don't know the actual delivery mechanism for these support tools, if that makes sense, but I know that there's so much more beyond just an app. I know that because of my Instagram, where every day I'm posting stuff that I've learnt over the years of retraining my brain in a way to be more positive. And people love it. And it makes you realise that actually it isn't just about an app, it's about the other stuff that goes around it as well, the support and the community aspect of it as well, and people sharing their stories and what have you.
Yeah,
that's why it's different than Headspace and what have you, because I don't think they have that feel.
No, and I think they're just sitting in their lovely offices now going, okay, I'll just buy some more yoga pants today because we're multimillionaires.
Yeah, I know, lucky them.
I know, it will come. But I feel like also, this new phase of business, it is great, and we're seeing the rise of the girl boss or the whatever. But also, I think we all need those tools to actually make it happen as well. And I think that's so key what you said about being positive and being inspiring and things like that, but also being really real about what goes on behind the scenes. And
totally.
I know that sometimes I've had it's all right for you, isn't it? And you're like, well, hang about, I've been doing this 25 years. It's not just I woke up and thought, I'll give that a go.
No, totally. And also that's part of it as well, was my life is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. My house is an absolute tip. I'm just looking around right now, and so hopefully no one's going to come charging through the doors at any moment.
I know.
It's crazy.
Can you imagine? When they do those hidden camera TV shows, I'm like, that would be just game over. Or, you won £10,000. Yes, but could you leave it outside, please, without coming in? Oh my goodness.
But there are things, there are tools and there are tips that everybody could use to make your life what you want it to be. And that's the sort of stuff that I'd love to be able to, like you do, share and help women with. And whether that's through an app, whether that's through a meetup, whatever's the best way to do it, we'll do it. And then I suppose my brand is meant to be really positive and proactive. And again, that's kind of what I want to be able to do, more of that stuff.
Amazing.
So it's really exciting.
And having accessible resources is so key, because, I say it a lot as well. A lot of my coaching clients can't just say, right, I'm going to go to Bali, I'm going to find myself for 3 weeks and I'm going to shut myself off from the world. They're like, that's not really feasible for me right now.
No. And I don't think, I mean, for some people, great, amazing, that might work for you. But, for the average person who may not be able to afford that, I think there's just it's about the everyday stuff. I talk about this a lot.
Yes.
And just thinking about what you do from the morning to the evening and breaking it down, and what are those little things that will add up to something bigger. I think are the game changers, really.
Yeah. I've started, like, it's maybe a bit TMI, sorry guys, but like even just putting body lotion on in the morning, it's such a small thing, but it just like, and especially now summer's coming, I mean, it's not exactly scorching by any means, but just going, gosh, my skin feels really nice. And I think, just that small action of like, I'm going to take a couple of minutes, even though my child is going bonkers in the background, to actually do this.
No, totally. I mean, I have this thing which I talk about a lot, which is bookending your days. And so there's two things that I do every single day, regardless of how mental it is. And that's sit down with my family to have breakfast. Even if it's only 5 minutes, it is a game changer for me in terms of my mood.
Yes.
If I don't do it, I'm just like, I'm so snappy and not a very nice person to be around, to be honest. So we always do that. And then the other one is to read before I go to bed. And again, even if it's only 2 pages, whatever it is, it just helps my brain detach. And there's something about looking at paper as well that I love.
Even if it's the same 2 pages that you've been reading for the last 6 months, like these pages are so good. I'm really enjoying them. Oh my goodness.
I've been there before.
Yeah, I used to like, I'm sure I've read this. Oh well, it's fine.
I fell asleep on that page, right? I'll read it again.
I know, it's so tricky because, some child has taken your bookmark or whatever. I've got one final question for you, which is, where would you like to be in 5 years? Do you have a grand plan? Do you do you want to be in London?
Yeah, we do, actually. So one of the things that I started as a process was to come up with our family vision.
I love this.
Yeah, and my husband and I were a bit cheesy. And it starts with me, like I always talk to him about this stuff. I think it's really important. And so I started mapping out what I thought our family vision was from my point of view, and then interestingly had a slightly different view of the family vision, and anyway we ended up with a joint family vision, which was part of the reason why I wanted to start a business as well. So it's simple stuff. So in 5 years time, I want to be able to have all of the school holidays off. He's a teacher. It drives me up the wall that he has all these holidays, and we can't spend them together. It's just like, well, why are we together if we can't spend these moments
And also,
together?
What are you doing all day? That's very irritating. Watching This Morning.
Good point. Not working on my list that I've left him.
No, reading all the books that you'll never read. Annoying.
So it's that, but also we don't live in London. We live in Sevenoaks. So I've got no desire to live in London. I love being in London, but no desire to live there.
Yeah,
I'd love to have enough money. Again, reason why I wanted to start Clementine, so that in the holidays we could go on adventures abroad with the family. That would bring me
as well. Yeah.
Just so much joy, creating all of those memories. And I still think in 5 years' time I will be doing not just Clementine, something else. I can totally see that. It's just like I said earlier, the balance of those two things need to be more towards something that I'm 150% passionate about.
Yeah.
So, whether I work 2 days in London and then work 3 days 5 days on Clementine or something else, I'll be flitting around a few things, I think.
Yeah, I think that vision thing is so key, like with your partner, but we also have like probably not monthly, but we should do it more often than we do, that kind of like what's going on, and like we do boring things like, when you kind of think, oh, those were the days where we just go to the pub and go, oh, it's 2 a.m, but we figure out when nursery closes or where we're going or when one of us is going to be away, but then like filling in that white space as well of like, what is the stuff that we really want to do this year. And Matt's going to be away on tour for quite a bit of it, and I just kind of wanted to make a commitment, like we'll come on tour for some of it. I mean, obviously
great.
his theatre company will hate us, like, I mean, but no, they won't, they'll be fine. But just that sense of all being together and checking in with that. And
no, totally.
Yeah.
And if you don't talk about it and if you don't plan it, let's face it, it's just not going to happen because you get caught up in the daily grind.
You do.
So I think it's worth always having these sorts of open conversations. And also, to my point, which was he had a different view of some of the things that we were talking about. And if you don't talk about that, you're like, oh, what happens? We get to 5 years' time and we're like, oh, didn't quite end up where we thought we were going to be.
Yeah.
So in terms of your relationship, I think it's also quite key.
It's so key because otherwise you start talking about, who got up earlier yesterday, who got up with the baby, have you put the bins out, did you pay the council tax?
We do that, by the way.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not like I'm reading, 19th century poetry to Matt every night. Like, oh, I've just put the fish cakes in. Now let me just read you a poem, for goodness sake. No. Kim, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Where can people come and find you and get to know more about you and read the blog and all that jazz and get the app, of course?
Yeah, 2 places. So if you want to get to know me a bit more, then come to Instagram because it's kind of like a mini journaling my life on there. So that's Clementine App UK. And then the website. So if you want to check out the app, it's free to try for a month. So I always think, why not give it a go? And that's Clementine app.co.uk. Really easy.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I know that
thanks for
you're
having
going to be creating food for thought and lots of people going, right, I'm booking something in with the shared calendar. My man and I were having chats tonight. So
love it.
I know lots of people will get so much from this. Thank you so
good.
much.
No, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. See you soon.
I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I would love to hear what you thought of the episode and share any takeaways with me. Come and find me across social media at Nicky Raby, or you can visit the podcast page, nickyraby.com/podcast.